I think we got a heck of a shot of winning. We can beat anybody in the world, and I think we're going to win next Sunday.
David Wells has pitched a perfect game. 27 up, 27 down. Baseball immortality for David Wells.
And it's hit deep to left center. Andrew Jones on the run. This one has a chance. Home run by Piazza, and the Mets lead 3-2. Bates against Joseph. Bates in on goal. Shoots. Metho! Defend Metho! And the Rangers have one more hill to climb, baby!
This is the Cross Island Sports Network, where iconic moments get iconic coverage.
You are listening to the Cross Island Podcast, hosted by Lyle Gillen and Errol Marks.
Welcome to a new show of the Cross Island Podcast. I'm Errol Marks. My partner over there is Lyle Gillian. We have a lot to get into as I've missed a couple of shows the last couple of weeks. I want to apologize to all the fans. Thank you to Josh Silverberg for filling in for me last week. And how are you, my friends?
I'm doing really well. Pretty nervous about the game number 2 tonight, but we'll see.
I'm not really nervous about game number 2 for the New York Islanders. I'll tell you why in just a few moments. So we'll get into the Islanders' blunder in game 1, which was the third period, and some of the horrible penalty calls by the referees that could have cost the Islanders game number 1, but I think it has a lot to do with lack of scoring for the New York Islanders. So we will get into the Islanders. The Rangers go up 1-0, knocking off the Capitals in game number 1, 4-1. Great goaltending and just absolutely outplaying, I think, an absolute lost team in the Capitals. So we will get into the Rangers and the Capitals. We'll go through the playoffs. Maybe we'll make our picks because we didn't get a chance to do that in the first round. So I could give you my thoughts to each and every single round. We will get into the Knicks as the Knicks are up 1-0, knocking off Philadelphia in game number 1 tonight at 7:30. Game number 2 in Madison Square Garden, and the fans going wild. Could the Knicks go up 2-0 against a very good Philadelphia 76er team that has an injured Joel Embiid, who's probably at 65-70%? He did look good in game number 1. So did Tyree Maxey, but I don't think they have any secondary depth, where I think the Knicks have a tremendous amount of secondary depth, which is going to help them win this series. So we'll get into the Knicks. We'll get into some baseball. As we all know, the Mets are playing pretty good baseball. I can't attack the Mets right now. They're playing really good right now. They've won consecutively, and they're winning series. And the Yankees, they're right there. I mean, obviously the Yankees and Baltimore are going to be fighting for first place in the American League East all season long. But the American League is not as good as I thought it was going to be going into the season. So a lot of questions in some of these divisions and who is really the beast of the East. So we will get into that as well. So let's get into the Islanders, because I know you're a little bit worried about the Islanders right now.
It's playoffs. You're probably always going to be worried about your teams in the playoffs. It's how it works. It's the life of a fan.
I'm an Islander fan, and I'm not really worried about game number 2 for the New York Islanders, because I think that obviously Carolina and Frederick Anderson played a very good game in game number 1. That's not something, and he's missed practically the whole season. I know if you look at his record, I think he was 9-1-0 in the 10 games that he played before the playoffs, and he looked pretty damn good. But this is a guy that barely played all season long, and he did play well in game number 1, but I don't know if he's going to be able to hold that together throughout the first round. Now, I still question certain things that the Islanders did in game number 1 that kind of has me worried. Their penalty killing is still putrid, and it's terrible, and they need to stay out of the box. They keep getting themselves into trouble. And yes, some of the penalty calls were a little bit questionable, and I would say the referees were out of their damn mind with the, what did they call it? Roughing or hooking or whatever the hell they had in the third period, which they scored. So,
no, they didn't score a power play goal in the third period.
It wasn't a power. Whatever. But they had a lot of power plays. How many power plays they have in the game? I don't have it up right now.
They had 3.
That's a lot. The Islanders can't give up.
No, that's not really a lot. I thought the PK actually did pretty good. They had a weird goal where I think it was Pulak screened Varlamov in the first. Besides that, the second 2 penalties that they killed off, they did a good job on.
I think if you're an Islander fan, you're not going to accept the fact that they only scored 1 goal. And by the way, it was a goal that really was trickled in the crease, okay? Yeah. It was tapped in by Kyle McLean, who, listen, has played well the last month and a half. I don't know why McLean is in this lineup. I think I would rather see Oliver Wahlstrom.
He's a good No, Oliver Wahlstrom's awful. He has no business being on the
something you have to, to me, in the playoffs, you have to see what you can do with some of the players that you didn't use throughout the season.
No, you're not going to take Oliver Wahlstrom, who did not play. They just had him play against the Penguins, and he did not do good. He's not good in the NHL anymore. It's clear as day. Anybody who has watched him play, it's obvious to them that he is not an NHLer at this point. He either needs to get traded and have a change of scenery, or his career is done, because he's just not good.
And you think Kyle McLean is?
He's a 4th-line center. He's doing his job. He's helping kill penalties. He was doing a good job.
Stinks. He stinks.
That's not true.
He played in 32 games. He had 4 goals and 5 assists. Oh, he's fantastic.
That's not his role. His role is he's a defensive center. And if you
don't need any more defense. This is ridiculous. We need offense.
So they moved Cizikas up to the first line to play left wing.
Oh my God.
That line has been doing very well. And to replace him, they kept McLean up at 4th line center, who he's done a great job down on that 4th line, replacing Cizikas since they moved him up. He's done a very, very, very good job.
I worry about this team because they're not getting the rebounds. This has been a big problem. Now, obviously, I will say this: the Islanders outshot Carolina in game number 1. They're going to have to continue doing that if they expect to win. But they need to get more quality shots on. These tricklers, these rebounds that you're not really getting you're not really getting full stick on it. I mean, really watching the game, the Islanders might have had 6 quality shots in the whole game. And one of them, the goal that they scored, shouldn't have even happened. I mean, obviously, Frederik Andersen actually put his body on top of it. It wouldn't have trickled in. So
they didn't get enough quality pressure on Frederik Andersen. They didn't test him enough. He made a few nice saves in the 3rd period, but besides that, he wasn't really tested. A lot of their quantity doesn't equal quality, and their quantity of shots did not equal that they had a good quality of shots. And you are correct that they did not have a lot of quality scoring opportunities. And they did have a couple. They had a couple in the 2nd period. And they didn't score, but I think that they if they play the way they did again on Saturday, but tonight, I think they could win. They have to keep playing the way they did. They dominated 5v5 play. They have to continue that. They had 2 power plays. One of them, it looked bad, but you know what? When you play against a top PK unit, you're going to have power plays that look bad. That happened. The 2nd power play they did a good job. They generated a few chances. Palmieri, 99% of the time during the regular season, he would have scored the wide open that he did not score on. So, but
he hit
sometimes that happens.
Didn't he? He hit the crossbar.
No, it just
somebody hit the crossbar in the game.
Yeah, someone shot the puck. It hit the far post, and then that's when Palmieri picked it up to try and wrap it around Freddie Andersen, but it just trickled wide. And you tripped them on that play also.
Here's the problem too. Their first line each of them had 5 shots. I mean, Matthew Barzal had 5 shots in the game. Bo Horvat had 5 shots on goal. But none of them could put the puck in the net. And this is a problem right now for the Islanders. Your best players, your goal scorers, your guys that you depend on have to do more. They have to do more. And you have to see more from that first line. And honestly, if they're not getting enough from that, maybe you move Brock Nelson to that first line and put it like make that line a super line. because the Islanders need to generate more shots and more pressures on this Carolina defense. Now, this is a good Carolina defense. Now, they've always been a good defensive team. Rob Brindamore preaches defense. It's just been their goaltending. And this is one of the reasons why Carolina hasn't won a Stanley Cup in the last 5 years. It's not because of Rob Brindamore and his coaching. It's really because of the goaltending. They don't have that guaranteed goaltender that's going to give them a win in the game. The Islanders have two of them. They have Varlamov and they have Sorokin. Now, Sorokin has not had a good season. Varlamov, since he's been back from his injury, has been fantastic. He's played very, very well, and he's become Patrick Roy's favorite and his go-to guy. If you remember Varlamov, when he was in Colorado, he had one of his best seasons under Patrick Roy. Mm-hmm. He was up for a Vezina Trophy that year. I think he came in fourth or fifth place in the voting in the Western Conference. So, I mean, and I think he won 40 games that year too, if I'm not mistaken. So, Varlamov is going to get his slicks, and I want to see. I want to see that Patrick Roy trusts in the young goalie they paid a lot of money to in the offseason. You can't just walk away from that. I understand he hasn't had one of those good seasons, but he's a guy that can, if he gets hot, you can ride him. You can ride him through the first round. You can ride him through the second round.
He hasn't been hot since last season. He hasn't looked good at all this year. I honestly don't even think that he looked good last year in last year's playoffs. He was not as good in the playoffs last year as he was in the regular season last year. And ever since then, he hasn't been as good as he was. And I think that, you know what, like, hey, sometimes goalies need to sit back and let their mind clear. And if they're doing that with him, I have no problem with it, because I think you don't want to ruin his confidence. And
ruin his confidence. This is a guy that's got an 8-year extension worth about $68 million.
But you know what? With goalies are funny. You gotta coach them right. And if I trust anybody with how he's handling him right now, it's Patrick Roy.
I don't trust Patrick Roy when it comes to goaltending, because over the years...
You don't trust the greatest goalie of all time?
No, I don't think he's the greatest goalie of all time. I think Martin Brodeur is the greatest goaltender of all time. I've said this many, many times. Okay, and I'm not saying Patrick Roy is not one of the top 4 goalies to ever play the game. But again, Patrick Roy, I give Patrick Roy a lot of credit. The month of April, the Islanders needed to win. They won. They did what they needed to do to squeak into the playoffs. But the Eastern Conference was very weak. The Metropolitan Division was back and forth. The Penguins, Washington, that's garbage. These teams at the end, look at Philadelphia, how they fell out the way they did in the last 10 games of the season.
I told you they were going to fall out because...
You didn't tell me. I knew they were going to fall out.
No, you didn't?
Yeah, I did.
I can go back and listen to the recordings where you said that wasn't going to happen because they were going to get Carter Hart back and the Islanders weren't going to come in the top 5.
If Hart came back.
No, you told me he definitely was. I can go listen back to the recordings.
Listen, you could go back and listen to whatever you want. I said, if Hart comes back, they win that third spot. And if he doesn't, it's going to create problems for them. And it did.
You didn't say that. You definitely said that he was going to come back and wasn't going to be out.
I did. I said he was. Yes, I thought he was going to come back. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to sit there and say that I did.
That's what I told you. He wasn't going to come back.
But I also said, and I know I said it on my show, and I did say this, that if Hart doesn't come back, I don't trust that they're going to be able to hold on to that spot. And then I think it was either you or somebody else that asked me, and they said, well, who do you think is going to take that spot? I said, well, I don't know. I don't know if the Islanders are going to make the playoffs, because I just didn't think they were playing well in the month of March. And
nobody in that Metro division wanted to play good enough to take the playoff spot. Nobody did. Like, you go look at it, everyone decided at the last minute, oh, wait a minute, we can make the playoffs. And then they all started playing well. Nobody throughout the year, when teams were not playing good, wanted to play as they needed to get up there into a playoff picture.
Let's get into the Rangers. The Rangers go up 1-0 in their series against Washington, and I'm not surprised. I had the Rangers winning in 5 games. I think Washington sneaks in a 1 win at home. I do. I don't see the Rangers sweeping them, but Washington's a team that snuck into the playoffs. I didn't expect was going to do very much against the Rangers. I think it's going to get harder for the Rangers in the second round if they have to face off against the Islanders or Carolina, because those two teams are going to be gritty. They're going to hit. They're going to cycle around the net and do the things that the Rangers are good at, and over the years, the Islanders have always had good defense. I don't know what's going on with the Islanders this season. Now, Lane Lambert really screwed everything up. Has it been better under Patrick Waugh? In the last month and a half, it has been. But the Rangers are, to me, one of the best all-around teams in the playoffs. And a lot of people believe with the way the team is playing consistently, they're scoring goals at a clip, and they're getting good goaltending now from Shesterkin. I think right now, a lot of people couldn't even question or argue that the Rangers are the favorites to coming out of the Eastern Conference. Now, Florida is still very dangerous.
I'd argue that very much.
Oh, yeah, why?
I think Boston and Florida are both better teams.
I don't.
You look at in the playoffs for how teams are built for the playoffs. 100%. The Rangers' numbers 5v5 are very average. They have they have a worse expected goal differential 5v5 than the Islanders. They have one of the worst expected goal differentials in the NHL at 5v5. And the New York Rangers, I just don't think when you look at you're going to have teams in the playoffs when you get farther you go that they're not going to be taking a lot of dumb penalties. Look at Boston. I don't picture them taking a lot of dumb penalties in the playoffs. I don't look at Florida doing that. They're teams that have been there before. I think they're going to give them a lot of trouble.
Florida just squeaked past the Lightning yesterday. And
the Lightning are the Lightning. The Lightning are the Lightning. I picked them personally to beat Florida.
I had Florida. I have Florida winning 6 games, and I think Florida will beat the Lightning.
I could very much picture that, but you know what? I will never not pick go against the Lightning just because of how much experience they have in the playoffs. They're almost the exact same team. Kucherov's gonna win the Hart. He had over 140 points. The guy carried them to the playoffs.
He's healthy. You can carry them.
Yeah,
healthy.
But he was healthy all year, and he was.
This year he has been.
Yeah, and I can picture Tampa winning that series. I think that other teams are in the East that are better than them and built better for a playoff scenario. I think that personally, it doesn't matter. Whoever comes out of the Central is going to be winning the Cup. Dallas, Winnipeg, or Colorado, one of those 3 teams are going to be winning it, and whoever comes out, that's what I think. I did think it was going to be Colorado, but Georgiev, he looked really bad yesterday. He really has not been good this year, and I think that Dallas could come out of that. I think that a lot of people are sleeping on Dallas. I think they're definitely going to go far.
Getting back to the Rangers, I mean, everybody was taking shots at Barclay Goodrow all season long, but Goodrow's a playoff player. The Rangers brought him here because he's won Stanley Cups before. He's won it with the Lightning. I think he's a great center, especially in the playoffs. He knows how to win faceoffs. He knows how to get under people's skin. I think Barclay Goodrow played very well in game number 1. He did everything. Now, he didn't shoot. But he had 2 assists in the game. He was playing. I think he played over, if I'm not mistaken, about 17, 18 minutes. I mean, that 4th line played very, very well. Jimmy Vesey played very well in the game. I think that shows. And what showed me that to the Rangers, and by the way, Matt Rempe had a goal last night again. And I mean, this guy's a brawler and he's putting the puck in the net. So if they could get just a little bit from this guy and he could be their enforcer, it's pretty damn good. Vincent Trocheck had a point in that game, 4 shots. He's had a fantastic year. He's an all-star this year. I think the Rangers are built to win now. They are. Now, I know obviously there's a lot of people that don't like their defense, certain players on their defensive side of the puck. And Keandre Miller, some people don't like him.
I love Keandre Miller.
You do, but a lot of people don't like him. And but I like what the Rangers produced in game number 1. I think they're going to breeze right through this series. I do. I don't see Washington even giving them a little bit of a scare. But
no, they won't. I think they're going to sweep them. No problem.
No, I don't think they're going to sweep them.
I did not like how Lindgren played. He lit up a couple really weak goals on Sunday, but I wouldn't be worried about even losing a game against them. Ovechkin looked old. I thought the Rangers they looked like so much more of a better team. Washington looked completely outclassed. I think that the Rangers are going to sweep them with no problem.
I don't. I don't think the Rangers are going to sweep them. I think that the Capitals will win at least one game. Now, I think it goes 5. I predicted it was going to go 5. But to say that Ovechkin looks old, Ovechkin did not have one of those seasons. Now, you're going to sit here.
No, he looked old. He didn't come alive until the second half of the year. He had 9 goals in the All-Star break.
He still had 31 goals and 34 assists.
Yes, he did. But the majority of that came in the second half of the year after the All-Star break.
And his plus-minus was a -22.
That's crazy.
It's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. It's
That's really bad.
What?
-22 is really bad.
Oh, listen. I'm going to sit here.
That shows that majority of his goals and points were on the power play.
The fact is that I loved everything that I saw, in game number 1 for the New York Rangers. I'm interested to see how Washington reacts in game number 2. And I don't think they win any of the games in Madison Square Garden, but I think they go home and they win one game. I think I could see that happening. So, but the Rangers are in a very good position to come out of this series and move on. And who knows who they're going to face in game, in the second round, either the Carolina Hurricanes or the New York Islanders. So it's going to be very, very interesting.
I think that the Islanders are a very bad matchup for the Rangers. And if you're a Ranger fan, you definitely want to play the Hurricanes. I think the Rangers will definitely handle the Hurricanes very well. They did during the regular season, handle them no problem. I think that the Rangers will definitely beat them and go to Eastern Conference Finals if they play the Carolina. But I think the Islanders are definitely the way they play, and them being such a good team 5-on-5, they can definitely beat the New York Rangers. Because as we've seen the last few years, and it's not as bad this year, they're much better 5v5 than they have been in the past. But the Islanders are definitely still, I would say, better than 5-on-5. The Rangers have to find a way to get the Islanders to take penalties, and then I think that would be their strategy to beat them. But first off, they have to continue with the Capitals and worry about that first. But yeah.
All right, so let's quickly go through the Stanley Cup playoffs in the first round and the predictions. I did do it on my show, but I'll go through it again. Dallas and Vegas, who do you have? And
Dallas.
How many games?
Dallas, I'll say 6. I think it'll be a tough series, but I definitely think Dallas is winning that.
I got Vegas in 7. All right, Winnipeg and Colorado.
When I did my bracket, I picked Colorado in 7, but after watching yesterday, I don't know. I'm second guessing that, but I'm going to stick with my original opinion of Colorado in 7.
I have Colorado in 6 or 7. Vancouver and Nashville.
Nashville can beat them. Nashville's been playing very well for a while now. I'm going to go with Nashville in 7.
I have Vancouver in 6. Who do you have? Edmonton and LA Kings.
LA.
I have Edmonton. I have Edmonton winning in 6. All right, Florida and Tampa.
When I did my bracket, I picked Tampa. I think that Tampa is not one of the best matchups for the Panthers. I think that I'm going to stick with that same way I did with Colorado. I'll stick with it, and I'll say Tampa in 7.
I have Florida. I have Florida winning in 6. So, Boston and Toronto, and why?
Boston. 6.
And why?
Toronto is Toronto. I just don't think Toronto has it. They've had the same problems for years since they signed Tavares. They haven't been great defensively. They haven't had steady goaltending. That's not a formula to win in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and I don't picture them being able to beat Boston, who has been great defensively, hasn't missed a beat without Bergeron and Krejci, and they have not, and their goaltending has still been very good. Swayman is definitely better than Ullmark. I thought he was last year, but he is continuing this year. Swayman's been doing a great job this season.
I have Boston winning this series. I don't trust Toronto in the big game. Everybody knows Toronto has won one series in the last, 20 years. It's been a long time. But
1-0 since 02, 03, 02.
Yeah. So I have Boston winning in 6. Rangers and Washington.
Rangers 4.
Rangers in 4? Why?
Because the Capitals suck.
I have the Rangers winning in 5. So
Why?
It's very simple. It's very simple. I can't see Washington losing both games at home.
I can.
I don't. Carolina and the Islanders.
The Islanders have a very specific formula they have to follow. They have to stay out of the box, and they have to keep
That's
it on
not my
5.
question. Well, who do you have?
I'm getting to that. And they have to stay on 5v5, and they definitely are capable of beating Carolina. I think they proved that on Saturday. And I will say, because I am a biased fan, I'll say Islanders in 6.
I think the Islanders win in 7. I think they beat them in Carolina. I think it goes 7.
That'll be very difficult.
I think. Well, listen. If the word difficult has something to be added to, it's the Islanders. The Islanders are a very difficult team to figure out. So I can't, even as an Islander fan, I can't sit there and figure out, hey, this is what the Islanders are going to do.
I think if the Islanders go into Game 6 and they're up 3-2, they're not losing.
Yeah, I think that if it goes to a 6 and it goes to a 7, I don't think the Islanders will be up 3-2 going into a Game 6. I think they'll be down. I think the Islanders will tie a Game 6, take it to a Game 7. I think the emotion of Game 6 will, whoever wins that Game 6 is going to win the Game 7. That's my opinion. So I think the Islanders win in 7 games. So that's my thought. I went 6 on my show, but after watching game number 1, I would say 7 because I think the Islanders win tonight. I do. I think the Islanders will find a win. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to overtime and the Islanders score the overtime goal.
Listen, I slept 3 hours last night. I hope it doesn't go to overtime.
It might. So that's my prediction. Getting into some basketball, the New York Knicks are just fun to watch. Okay. Honestly, if you don't like basketball, shame on you. And if you do like basketball, this is a team that you definitely have to root for. Okay. They don't have the most talented players on their team, but it all works. Jalen Brunson has become a superstar right in front of our eyes. A lot of people mocked Jalen Brunson when the Knicks gave him a 4-year, $106 million contract. And now they're sitting there and saying, how are the Knicks okay at paying Jalen Brunson $24 million a year when he's the best point guard in the Eastern Conference? And he has been all season long. And it says a lot about who he is and the player he's transitioned into. I think I've been very impressed with Jalen Brunson, his leadership. And listen, they lost Julius Randle, the last 2 months. And everybody said, oh, what are they going to do without Julius Randle? He's had one of his best seasons. He's become a role player, a team player. He was never a role player for all you fans out there. He was always me. Now, he's been better since OG Anunoby was traded to the New York Knicks. There's no question that he has. But I think that what this team has that they haven't had over the years is perimeter defense. OG Anunoby is probably the best in the league at that. Him or Kawhi Leonard, you can argue. Those two guys are the best at what they do on the perimeter. And Dante DiVincenzo is pretty damn good too. So the Knicks have something that they haven't had ever. Even in the 90s. The 90s Knicks, they never really had wing defenders. They had guys in the middle. They had guys like power forwards, Oakley.
Game was way different back then.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, for years, the Knicks have been trying to find those wing defenders, and there are not many of them in the league. And when you have one like OG Anunoby and now Dante DiVincenzo, you have two guys that I believe are in the top 10 when it comes to defense on the perimeter. And that screams a lot of problems for the 76ers. Now, Tyrese Maxey had a very good game in game number 1. He scored 33, but he shot a lot. and he played 44 minutes. He played the majority of the game. And even Kyle Lowry, who had 18 points, he played 39. If they don't get secondary points off the bench, or even some of their starters, like Tobias Harris, who's making a lot of money, Long Island native, 31 minutes, 7 points. You're not going to win like that. Nicholas Batum, who played very well, that got him sneak into the play-in game the way they did, because they didn't play well against Miami either, but Batum played the best. And Nicholas Batum's got to play better than 26 minutes and 3 points. Buddy Hield, I don't know what's going on with Buddy. Buddy was a good shooter. He's been a good shooter since he's come in the league. He played 11 minutes, he had no points. Paul Reed, 11 minutes, 4 points. They need to get more secondary points, because what the Knicks do is they spread it out very, very well. And Josh Hart played 42 minutes, 13 rebounds, 22 points. OG, 31 minutes, 11 points, 4 rebounds. You had Isaiah Hartenstein. He played 18 minutes, 7 rebounds, 6 points. Jalen Brunson, 22 and 7 in 41 minutes. Dante DiVincenzo, 24 minutes, 8, 2 and 2. I mean, Mitchell Robinson even had 8 and 12. I mean, McBride had 21 points in 28 minutes. And then even Bojan Bogdanovic, who a lot of people were questioning what he has done since he's come here. In 25 minutes, he had 13 points and 7 rebounds.
Pretty good.
That's really good. So for a guy that was coming off the bench as an 8th or 9th guy. So the Knicks are spreading the ball out very, very well. You see the team defense. If they can keep Philadelphia in that 104, 100, 105 mark, anything 105 or lower, the Knicks are going to win every single one of these games. Now, I don't think the Knicks are going to win in 4 games. I don't think they're going to sweep the 76ers. I think the Knicks win in 5. That's my prediction. I don't trust that. Joel Embiid, he did play well in that game. He did. He had 37 minutes, which you're beating this guy up. His knee, 29 points, 8 and 6. Those are great line numbers. But I don't trust that Joel Embiid is 100% healthy. And that once the Knicks figure out how they can contain him, they're going to become one-dimensional with Tyrese Maxey. And some of these other guys are going to have to step up, and I don't think they will. So that's why I think the Knicks are going to win this series in 5 games. Now, they have to win. If they're going to win in 5 games, they have to win tonight, Madison Square Garden. I think they lose one of those games in Philadelphia, and then they go back to Madison Square Garden and beat them in one of those games. So I think that the Knicks are the better team. Now, Vegas was back and forth in this series on who was going to win, because obviously the 76ers are a team that, when healthy, some people would say they have the best player. But this season, they haven't. Jalen Brunson has been a better player than Joel Embiid this year. But Joel Embiid has not.
You know who I think is probably the biggest what's the right word? The biggest surprise and the biggest happy spot for the Knicks is probably, I'll say, Josh Hart. He got his chance from the injuries. He got a contract extension. He's been playing very well. And I think he's going to be a guy that, like you mentioned, they have a lot of depth. And I think that with Julius Randle being out, Josh Hart stepping up and going into his place like that really did show how much depth they have.
I think the most important player in this series is OG Anunoby. I don't care what anybody says. Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, all of these guys, Dante DiVincenzo. OG Anunoby is the most important player, and he's playing the most important position and probably defending the most important player in Tyrese Maxey. He needs to play a little bit better than game one, but I believe OG will. And you have to keep Tyrese Maxey away from the three-point line. Make him beat you inside. Make him use his dribble. Make him beat you on the dribble. If they do that, they're going to beat this team. They're better. They're all around better than the 76ers. There's no argument to it. I mean, the Knicks from their starting 9, their 9 top players or their 8 top players against their 8 top players, I take the Knicks in a heartbeat. The only team right now in the Eastern Conference you could argue that is Boston. And honestly, the only thing that really scares me about Boston is their front 6. And that's White coming off the bench. I think the Knicks are, if you look at the Knicks top 8, top 9 players, I would take the Knicks roster over Boston's not the starters, but they're bench players. So I'm interested to see what tonight lies and how it lies for the Knicks. They need to win this game. They do not want to go back to Philadelphia 1-1 and giving this team confidence moving forward with Joel Embiid. So I'm excited to see what happens tonight. This is a big game for the Knicks. This is a big game for the fans. The fans went crazy. They went wild after game number 1. And this is the New York.
I would expect that.
What happened?
I would expect them to go wild.
Listen, in any other sports here in New York, if the Knicks win a championship, it's the biggest in sports. The Knicks are the most popular team in New York. From the Knicks, from the Brooklyn, New York Rangers, New York Islanders, New York Yankees, New York Mets, all the New York teams, the Knicks are the most popular one. So
I wouldn't say that it would be more of a big deal because they are more popular. I would say it would be a bigger deal because they haven't done it in 50 years.
Oh, it's dude. They're the most popular.
Yes, but I don't think that's why it's going to be.
Have you ever seen fans act the way they do after a game 1 win? Come on.
No, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. If the Knicks were like the Yankees, where they were winning championships all the time, it wouldn't be as big of a deal if they won one. Same thing with the Yankees. If they won one, it's not going to be as big of a deal because they've done it so many times. But the Knicks, their fans have not seen this kind of success. Majority of their fans have not seen the success that any success in general.
I have. I saw it.
You saw what? You saw them get to one NBA finals?
No, they were very successful. They did too. They did too,
but they didn't win any.
Yeah, listen, it's not easy to win NBA championships.
But here's the thing. No one has seen that in 50 years with the Knicks. That's why it's going to be a bigger deal. Because it's been for so long. And I can tell you right now, it'll be just as big of a deal in New York if the Jets win a Super Bowl. Because both teams, it's been almost as long as
Listen, Lyle, you put the Jets against the Knicks. I'll tell you, any Jet fan that's a Knicks fan.
I'm not putting them against each other. I'm just saying.
If you go to a Jet fan right now and you say, who would you rather win a championship, the Knicks or the Jets? I will put my money on it. They'll say the Knicks. I will put my money on it. I would say 9 out of 10 of them would say the Knicks. 9 out of 10 of them. Most of them are Knicks fans. Most of the Jet fans are Knicks fans.
I know a lot of people that are not basketball fans.
Well, and I know a lot of Jet fans that are. So, and I'm going to tell you this right now. The Knicks are more popular than the Jets.
I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying the reason why you say it will be one of the biggest deals in sports. I'm saying it's because they have not won in 50 years. That's why.
I don't think it has anything to do with 50 years. I think it's just because the Knicks fans, they're crying for a winner. They want to see consistency.
Because they haven't had that in forever.
Well, they did. They were in a second round with Carmelo Anthony, but they wanted to see more consistency.
What they do?
But here, the Knicks have been back-to-back playoffs. They went to a second round last year. And
what they do, half the league, more than half the league can make the playoffs now.
But the Knicks haven't done that for a very long time.
Thank you for proving my point now.
What are you talking about? You said 50 years.
I've been saying right now they have not had success in a long time. No, their fans have not seen a championship in 50 years. And then you just proved that by saying that they haven't had.
No, I did not, Lyle. No, I did not. I said that the Knicks winning a championship is bigger than any of the New York teams, and the Knicks fans and any New York fan will tell you.
And I agreed with you, but I say it's because they haven't seen them win.
The Jets haven't won. The Giants haven't won since 2011. Giant fans will go crazy. The Islanders haven't won since the 80s. The Rangers haven't won since '94.
The Giants.
The Yankees haven't won since 2009.
The only two teams in New York you can compare.
The Mets haven't won since 1986.
The only two teams in New York that you can compare for how big of a deal it would be if they won a championship is the Jets and the Knicks.
I'm telling you right now, the New York teams haven't won in a very long time. If you ask any New York fan, who would you rather win out of all the teams that you root for, all of them would say the Knicks. All of them. So
I think if we ask Josh right now, he would say the Mets.
You want to bet?
Yeah, if we ask Josh right now.
You want to bet? You want to bet?
Sure.
I'll bet you. How much you want to bet? We're not even going to. I'm going to ask him.
$5.
$5? Let's bet a dinner.
Sure.
All right. That's the dinner bet. I bet you a dinner that Josh, if you went to Josh and say, who would you want to see? Knicks, Mets, all those teams. Who would you really want to see win a championship? I bet you he says the Knicks. So you could do that. Anyways, going through the NBA playoffs, I got the Celtics knocking off the Heat in 6. I got the Cavaliers knocking off the Magic in 7. I got the Bucks knocking off the Pacers in 6. I got the Knicks knocking off the 76ers in 5. I've got the Thunder knocking off the Pelicans in 5. I've got the Clippers knocking off the Mavericks in 7. I got the Timberwolves knocking off the Suns in 6. And I've got the Nuggets knocking off the Lakers in 4. So those are my picks with the NBA. Now, you don't know much about the NBA, so I'm not going to really let you go through that because you probably don't know. So I'm not going to ask you who you have and this and that.
No, actually, I can figure it out. I know more than you think.
Yeah? Let me ask you a question. Why do you think the Timberwolves will beat the Suns?
I don't.
So you have
I'm not going to bet against that kind of talent in a playoff series.
Talent? What kind of talent? What's their talent?
They have Mitchell. They have Kevin. They have Kevin Durant.
They have Kevin Durant.
Yes.
Devin Booker.
Devin Booker, that's his name. And I just think they have too much talent.
They don't. They have 3 guys. And
you know what?
Guys that don't play well together.
That's 100% possible, but you know what? And I am going to say you owe me a dinner because Josh just said the New York Mets, of course.
I disagree. I don't believe that. I don't believe it. I have to call him and I have to ask him because I don't believe that. Because I talked to Josh the other day and he said the Knicks. If he said, who would you rather? He asked me the same question. If you were to choose a team to win a championship right now, that's why I knew it was now he's changing his mind. So
no, Mets are his team over everything. It's like with me, if you ask me that question, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say the Islanders. Like, everyone has their team that is their guys. That they're number one. And I've heard Josh so many times over the years say how much he's done with the Knicks, how much he's done with the Jets.
Well, whatever. If that's the case, then I take you out to dinner. I don't mind it. I have no problems doing that. So I did it for him, and I'll do it for you. But he told me a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about it, he asked me, who would you rather? And I said, I would say the Knicks. And he says, I would probably agree with you. So very surprised that he said that. But nevertheless, it doesn't really matter to me. So whatever. Back here, let's finish up because I know you want to watch your Islander game, and we have 18 minutes left.
And I know you want to watch the Knicks.
I'm watching it right now. They're down 13-5 right now. Tobias Harris just hit a shot. I think a 3-point shot, if I'm not mistaken. But going into the Yankees and the Mets early season right now. Now, I will say this. The Mets right now, and they're playing pretty good baseball. I'm not going to lie. And
they're playing very well. I'm impressed.
They're playing well. They're finding ways to win games. They're getting pitching, which is surprising to me because their pitching staff sucks. So I'm very surprised on the way they're pitching and stuff like that. I have a feeling, and I'm only being honest for all you Met fans, it's going to get harder. It's going to get. And
you got to give them credit. They took 2 out of 3 out of LA.
Yeah, but LA's not playing well right now. They're not. They're 13-11.
They lost 2 out of 3 to the Nationals. I don't know how we did that. Like, the Nationals lost 2 out of 3 to Oakland. Then they took 2 out of 3 of the Dodgers, then took 2 out of 3 of Houston. No idea how that happened.
Well, the Mets are 8-2 in their last 10 games, so
they've been playing great ball.
They have been, and there's no question that they are. And the Yankees right now are 5-5 in their last 10 games, so The Yankees started off very strong. The Yankees are going to be fine. I'm not really worried about the Yankees. I know a lot of people are worried about their hitting. Their roster will figure out. Aaron Judge will figure it out. I do not believe he's going to be batting 176 all season long. I think he'll be fine. Okay,
maybe 178.
No. He'll get the batting average over 250 one way or another. He'll go on one of those hot streaks. He's right now, he's in a slump right now. And again, Yankee fans, he even said it. The Yankee fans have every right to boo him. But I can't see this lineup being stagnant all season long.
Soto has been the MVP so far.
Yeah, but we expected that in a lineup that good. Volpe's been pretty damn good too. So,
yes, he has. He has done a great job.
He's been fantastic too. And
last time I looked, he was batting 320 something.
No, he's batting 280 something right now.
So it went down since the last time I looked. But
yes, but for a shortstop, if he can keep it between 280, 270, and 290, and he's going to give you 30 home runs, he's going to give you Gold Glove defense.
Yeah, that's very good.
30 stolen bases. Look, listen, Carlos Rodon has pitched very well in his starts. Very well. The Yankees are just not hitting for him. And it's been a big problem. He was pitching one-hit ball today in 7 innings, and they didn't give him anything. No run protection, no nothing. They lost against the Athletics 2-0. I mean, that to me, the Yankees got to figure out why this offense is not working on all cylinders. Now, I think this offense is way too good to not be hitting and going into these slumps. So I think they'll figure something out. The Aaron Boone thing today was pretty funny. I was talking to Jeff about it.
That was hilarious, by the way. I saw the replay. A fan yelled, and then Aaron Boone got thrown out for it. That was funny.
Yeah. It's
the one thing I will criticize Anthony Volpe about is he does not have the highest OPS right now.
He never did. Even last year, he had a problem with the on-base percentage.
779 OPS right now.
Which is not bad.
That's not bad, but it's not good.
You know what his OPS last year was?
Probably much lower because he batted about 200.
Yeah, so that says a lot. I mean, he's been better. And
OPS last year was 666.
He's 23 years old. You know, he's going to get better. And I think what I've seen with the Yankees, and again, going back to the Mets too, the Mets have been very impressive with the pitching staff. The Yankees pitching staff has been very impressive too. Everybody thought, losing Garrett Cole is going to affect it. It really hasn't. What's hurt the Yankees is they're not getting quality hits and leaving too many guys on base. That's been the Yankees' problem. Even Schmidt,
I feel like the Yankees have been like that for a very long time, where they're all about the home run. And I feel like they're not necessarily as bad as they used to be, but I do feel like they still rely on it more than they should. I
think that the Yankees are not doing that as much this year. I think that the fact that they added lefties and that's been the problem with their lineup. It's all been righty. They've been a righty team. Now I think adding Verdugo and adding a guy like Soto, it helps out their lineup. It spreads out their offense. They have switch hitters and guys like that can hit different on different sides of the plate. So there's a lot of questions still with the Yankees, and I do worry about their all around lineup throughout the season. We haven't seen DJ LeMahieu yet. He has not been in the lineup. When DJ finally gets put into the lineup, I'm interested to see what DJ is going to be this year. Now, he's not the same player, but you had somebody like that. I think I could say Cabrera has looked really, really good at third base this year. He really has.
Last year.
No, he wasn't a third baseman. He was an outfielder. The Yankees moved him.
I was talking about LeMahieu last year.
Cabrera. LeMahieu didn't have a good year last year because he wasn't healthy.
Yeah, I know that. Listen, you brought it up. The Yankees, my biggest worry about them before the season started was Garrett Cole and how that could hurt them. And they have done a good job of supplementing the stress of losing your Cy Young award-winning ace and really having guys step up. And that's very important to do. But looking at what they've been doing, I think they really need to start doing a better job of getting guys on base and just They have, this is the current line.
There's only two.
Trevino.
Honestly, there's only one team right now in the league that has more wins than the Yankees, and that's Cleveland. Okay.
Yes.
I think they have one more win than the Yankees. I think the Yankees are going to be fine. I do. I think they just need to figure out what's going on in the middle of their lineup right now. Now Soto's hitting, and Giancarlo Stanton's hitting home runs, but he's not. He's hitting better averagely. His average is better than it was last year. He was batting in the ones. Now Aaron Judge is batting in the ones, and that's worrying the Yankees too. But I think I'm not worried about Aaron Judge. I think he's a great hitter. He will figure it out.
Yeah, I think numbers usually end up evening out at the end of the year.
He'll figure it out. It's early. I think he'll figure it out. I'm not really worried. Again, I'm not.
I would be more worried about, you look. They have Gleyber Torres batting 200, Anthony Rizzo, he's batting 235. Then you have like you mentioned Stanton, who was hitting home runs. He's still batting 227.
Better than last year.
Yeah, it is, but it's still not good enough. They got to find ways to get on base. You look at their on base percentage. Carl Stanton has under 300. Then you look at Torres 309, Rizzo 316, Oswaldo Cabrera, who we mentioned before, he has 338. That's not bad. Verdugo has 348 on base percentage. That's good. Volpe is 367 on base percentage. So they have guys who are getting on base, but then you have your big guns, Stanton and Judge, who are not. And that's probably their biggest problem right now. You can't be relying on so few guys when you have so many guns in the lineup.
I think first of all, there are three guys that are not hitting right now. Aaron Judge, Verdugo I expect him to do better. I think he's going to do a little bit more as the season moves forward. I think when it gets warmer, the ball is going to start to travel for the Yankees. You're going to see a lot more home runs in Yankee Stadium in this line.
That's fair.
So Gleyber Torres has not played well. He's batting 193, and this is a contract year for Gleyber. So I expect Gleyber to play better, and he has no home runs. I don't think Gleyber Torres has hit a home run yet.
No, he hasn't.
But he only has 2 RBIs, so I expect Gleyber to play a little bit better. I think this lineup has a lot more to give. It's got to figure things out, but they're still winning even with the lineup playing this bad.
Yeah,
so,
no, that's very good. But you know what? You have to. I think that's a good sign for the Yankees because once they do start hitting, and once you get Giancarlo Stanton being consistent, once you get Judge hitting consistently, they'll do even better. And that's a good thing to have, but you just got to hope that when they start getting hot, the other guys who are getting on base don't cool off.
And again, a lot of these guys are getting hits because Soto's got 28 hits. Giancarlo's got 16 hits. Mm-hmm. Oswaldo Cabrera has 20 hits. Aaron Judge has 15, which will definitely go up because Aaron Judge is going to lead the team or second in the team in hits one way or another. Alex Verdugo has 20 hits. Anthony Volpe has 24. Anthony Rizzo has 20. Jose Trevino has 10, and he's a catcher. So they're getting their hits. The only person that even Gleyber Torres, who's batting 193, has 16 hits.
I would say the Yankees' biggest problem is they're not getting guys on base enough.
Well,
they're getting the guys on base getting hits, yes, but they're not getting enough of guys consistently on base. And I did look at their on base percentages. I just read them off before, and I think they're a little bit lower than they can be.
It's going to be very, very interesting, and I think Hart did Hart get hurt? Got hit in the face or something? It's 19-13 right now, Philadelphia.
3-0 in the Islander game with 11 minutes.
3 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first quarter. So right now, the Knicks are down by 6, but that's not bad.
Nah, it's still early.
But,
they were in a bigger hole on Saturday, and they won.
Yep, and as far as the Mets are concerned, the Mets are playing better baseball than I thought they were going to early this season. I've been impressed. I still think there's a lot of questions with the Mets, and as their schedule gets a little bit more harder, I think if you're a Met fan, you would have to worry because this lineup is not a good lineup. Okay, I don't know why anybody would think that this is a good lineup. Now Alonso is not having this season he started off last year, but he still has 6 home runs and 11 RBIs, and he's batting .241. Marte.
The last couple of years, he hasn't done much batting average-wise.
No, but last year he got very hot early. Sterling Marte has played better this year. Francisco Lindor needs to play better. He's batting 188. Nimmo needs to play better. I mean, Alvarez, everybody keeps talking about Francisco Alvarez. Oh, he looks like a great hitter. He's batting 236. I mean, he's a catcher, but Harrison Bader's played very well for the Mets. He really has. He has 20 hits. He has 1 home run. Harrison Bader is a good player. He just can't stay healthy. Couldn't stay healthy with the Yankees. Couldn't stay healthy with St. Louis. McNeil.
You know what, though? You said Brandon Nimmo has to do better. He's their leadoff hitter, and he has an on-base percentage of .365. That's very good.
And he's batting 208.
But that's fine. He's getting on base. .365 is a very good on-base percentage. And if he's getting on base, that's all you want from your leadoff guy. Doesn't matter how you get on. If you get on before you're 2 and 3 hitter, who cares if it's a single or if it's a walk?
If Nimmo's making a lot of money, dude. All right.
He is.
I'm not paying Brandon Nimmo $20-something million to get on base. I want to see more.
That is what they're paying him to do. He's their leadoff hitter.
No,
he's their leadoff hitter. They're paying him to get on base.
I disagree. Whatever. Just my opinion. But I will say this: he does have 15 RBIs, so that's better.
And he has 15 walks.
He leads the team with RBIs. So, but again, that doesn't say much about their offense. That doesn't say much about their offense.
DJ Stewart, is he starting for them?
He played 14 games. So he's batting 235, and he has a
426 on base percentage. That's good.
Right now, it's early,
but you know what? That's what. But see, that's how the Mets are building their team. They didn't go out there and get stars to try and win. They got guys who will get on base. We'll see next year. We'll see next year when they're ready to open up their pockets. If they're not 100%. Next year will be completely different. But they didn't come into this year in order to try and win. Based off
nobody thought that. Not even David Stearns believed they were going to win. Not even Steve Cohen thought they were going to win this year. Not all of them.
They tried to play Moneyball this year. That's 100% what they did. Knowing that if they did bad, they'll be in position to then go and sign guys for next year. But if they did good, they'll still be in that position.
Well, it's going to be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting watching. And the Knicks gave the ball away again. The Knicks are making a lot of mistakes. They cannot make these mistakes if they want to beat this team. Because this team will play them hard all game throughout this series. Like, they got to play better.
I think the Knicks will be fine.
Oh, no, they're down 22-13 right now. So, anyways, yeah, the show is over. It's been a great one. I'm happy to get back here, and it's been
definitely glad to have you back.
Yeah, it's been rough, but we got to work on getting some guests. Maybe we get some writers on the show because that would be good.
Yeah, I'm down for that. I'll start reaching out again.
Yeah, well, it's all right, man. I know you're busy. How's the health going? Is everything good?
Everything's going great. How about you?
Yeah, well, I have sleep apnea, so not very good.
Okay, well, that's tonight's show, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Yes. If you're a Knicks fan or an Islander fan watching your team play right now, good luck, and we'll see you next week to talk about everything that happens during the week.
Absolutely. And again, appreciate everybody. Keep tuning in and check us out. If you missed any of the shows or any of the content, you can check us out, YouTube and all of the Cross Island Podcast social medias. All right, guys. That's me. That's Errol Marks and Lyle Gillian saying good night. We'll talk to you next week. Good night, everybody.